on a bit of a road trip. I'm driving from Johannesburg to Kimberley. This road that I'm currently on is it stretches about 150 kilometers, so it's a bit of boredom setting in. Feeling a bit nostalgic about it. As a kid, we went on a school trip to Kimberley, and that was my first exposure to the diamond industry. Really, we learned about the beginning of the diamond industry in South Africa, and so we went to Kimberley in a school trip. I must have been about 11 or 12 years old, and I have very vivid memories of it. Funnily enough, not of the big hole, but I do remember learning about panning for diamonds. And they gave us each a pan that we got to sift through the dirt, and they put one diamond in one of the pans. This is probably among about 60 kids, and I remember that it was a girl that I had an absolute crush on who won the diamond, and I really then sort of made that association between what that diamond meant in the context of my secret crush. And I wonder if that's always true, or just a figment of my imagination. Anyway, so I'm very excited to be in Kimberley. Look how gorgeous that African sky is in the background. It's so great to be back in South Africa. I just love this place. It's good to be back in my home away from home. So why Kimberley? Why does this small town hold such reverence in the diamond industry? Clearly we need to look at the town in its historical context as the home of the first diamond rush and the birthplace of the modern diamond industry. But what led to those events? Why is it the birthplace of the modern diamond industry? To put that in context, we need to understand where Kimberley is. Why were diamonds found in Kimberley? Now, without judging my drawing skills, and if you'll excuse the mess, this is my little sketch of South Africa with its 9 provinces. You have the Atlantic Ocean on the west, the Indian Ocean along the east, and Namibia, Botswana, Zimbabwe, and Mozambique along its northern border. And I want to note 2 important bodies of water to understand our diamond story. The Vaal River begins in the northeastern province of Mpumalanga, flowing southwest, kind of around Kimberley until it meets the Orange River. It's a tributary to the Orange River and meets at a point of confluence about 150 kilometers from Kimberley. Now the Orange is our other body of water, and the more important of the two from our diamond industry perspective. The Orange extends from Lesotho, that independent country completely surrounded by South Africa, and the river flows from Lesotho through South Africa south of Kimberley until it eventually edges along the Namibian border and flows into the Atlantic Ocean on the west coast. It was along the Orange River that South Africa's first diamond was found by Erasmus Jacobs in 1866. That's the famed Eureka diamond. The site of that find is known as the Kalk. That diamond, found along the Orange Riverbank, in today's terms is known as an alluvial stone. An alluvial mine is one in which diamonds have been washed along a riverbed over a period of time, thrown up in a volcanic eruption from its kimberlite source. Alluvial deposits are mined by excavating gravel and sand and rock along the riverbed, but the source of those diamonds, perhaps from millions of years ago, is ultimately a kimberlite rock formation. That's why today when you have an alluvial deposit where you don't know the kimberlite source, there's a rush and investment to find that source because there are potentially richer deposits within that rock. The best example of that today is the Lulo mine in Angola, owned by Lucapa Diamond Company, which fairly consistently yields high quality, large, special diamonds along the alluvial deposit, but they don't know where the kimberlite is. And Lucapa is salivating at the prospect of finding what they call the mother lode, the kimberlite source. And so prospecting continues among the many kimberlites that have been found around the root of that alluvial deposit until hopefully they find what they're looking for. It sounds simpler than it is, but it's a long and tedious process that requires a significant investment. So back to our Kimberley story, because if knowing what we know today about alluvial deposits and kimberlites, when Erasmus found that Eureka diamond along the Orange River, they would have recognized it as an alluvial deposit. and they would have started to look for the kimberlite source. Now it happens that the kimberlite source of the Eureka is said to be in Lesotho. Remember that landlocked country, which is where the mouth of the Orange River is situated. And we know today that Lesotho has a number of kimberlite mines. There's the famous Letseng mine, Mathau, Kau, and Likabon, which are all operating in Lesotho. But an exploration program would ultimately have led to Kimberley, because Kimberley was the closest kimberlite to the cult. The Kimberley kimberlites, along with those in Lesotho, contributed to the diamonds found in the alluvial beds along the Orange River, while diamonds from those mines in the Orange Free State and Gauteng, such as Jagersfontein, Koffiefontein, and the Cullinan mines, probably flowed into the Vaal River. And where the Vaal River converges into the Orange, from that point up, there's a mix of goods from those various kimberlites. But there were no exploration programs in the 1800s, and the Kimberley deposits were kind of found by chance with the discovery of the De Beers mine in 1871. And that same year, the New Rush mine, which became the Kimberley mine, sparking the famous Kimberley diamond rush of the 1870s and 1880s. And we know the story. In that original Kimberley diamond rush, those mines were divided into claims which were bought by individual miners and eventually forming companies. Cecil John Rhodes and his partners steadily bought up the claims in the De Beers mine and eventually took control of that mine, forming the De Beers Diamond Company in 1880, named after the De Beers brothers who owned the farm on which the mine was located. And Barney Barnato was doing the same down the road at the Kimberley operation, which had emerged as the more lucrative of the two mining operations. And in fact, the Kimberley mine ranked as the richest mine in the world for some time throughout its operations. And so Rhodes had his eye on the Kimberley mine to cement control of the diamond market. And with the backing of the Rothschilds, he and his De Beers board bought Barnato out for an exact amount of £5,338,650. Around the same time, De Beers also bought the Buffeltein and Detroit-spun mines around Kimberley, completing its portfolio that enabled De Beers to cement its position as the dominant player in the industry at the time. And of course, we know it maintained that position for the next century. So that's the context, and I've posted videos with more details of those stories, which I'll link to in the description. And the Big Hole Museum in Kimberley is well worth a visit, along with other touristy things to do in that part of the world, and I'll touch on that a bit later. But as an industry, this is where we come from. In that diamond rush, mining methods were developed which still bear influence on today's recoveries. Similar in trading, there's a diamond industry culture that was born in this small town of Kimberley. So what do we have in Kimberley today? Firstly, you still have formal mining, with Incubator mining company running the old De Beers mines tailings operations. Kimberley is also still a rough trading center, even if it's not what it used to be. It has one or two tender houses selling rough diamonds in the city. But where are those diamonds coming from? And that takes us back to our Orange River story, because there are still a number of mechanized alluvial diamond mining operations producing diamonds along the river. And particularly the Middle Orange has some of the best quality stones and highest average selling price in the global diamond market today. This beautiful 29.52 carat pink diamond was found this year and in June sold for more than $8 million in Johannesburg by Pioneer Diamond Tender House. So all along the Orange you have small operations, many of which bring their production to Kimberley for sale. There used to be more mining along the Orange, but there's been a decline in operators, with many blaming a demanding regulatory environment in South Africa as the reason for the drop-off. You also have informal miners, both along the Orange and also within Kimberley, digging for stones around various old sites and dumps around Kimberley, and I'll have more on those miners in future videos. So in Kimberley today, you have mining, you have some rough sales, and there's also initiative to create diamond and jewelry manufacturing with the Kimberley Diamond and Jewelry Incubator program, helping young entrepreneurs break into the business. Attached to that, as a kind of feeder, is the Kimberley International Diamond and Jewelry Academy, where students come to learn diamond and jewelry manufacturing. So I spent a few days in Kimberley recently, and this was my takeaway, and it's both positive and maybe a little critical. One feels that Kimberley should be further than it is in its diamond-related activity today. So it's not quite there, but it also has potential. You see the potential. Even with a diamond story spanning 150 years, it still has a role to play. And one feels that it should be getting more tourist traffic than it does, not only to tap that diamond history, but some historical battles took place around this area. During the Anglo-Boer War, there are some beautiful monuments scattered around the town commemorating that war, as well as the First World War. That history of the town is fascinating. There's also the Diggers Memorial in the Oppenheimer Gardens, which depict 5 life-sized miners holding up a diamond sieve above their heads, sculpted to honor miners past and present who work so hard, many sacrificing their lives to keep our industry ticking. Now, it's a magnificent memorial, but it's disappointingly unkept, with just 4 of the 5 miners standing and no sieve in sight. Someone has to do something to restore it and preserve it. It's too beautiful and too important a monument, both in its message and its artistic structure, to let it go to waste. So that's my little rant on that. There are also game parks around this area, including, I'm told, some interesting bird life, and there's definitely what to do along that majestically beautiful Orange River route, which I fell in love with. I'm fascinated by Kimberley. Reconnecting after all these years was both emotional and eye-opening for me. I think that school trip I came on all those years ago subconsciously had some influence on my choice of career and on my decision to embark on this little road trip of discovery through the diamond industry that I've just begun. Thank you for watching this video and for your support and interest. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you like this video, then like it and share it, and subscribe to my channel and join our community on avikravitz.com. Stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys next time.